I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. There are no geniuses in professional wrestling. Well, except for the Hardy Boys. What I mean by that is anyone who's ever booked a show, be it big time or small time, no matter how good they are, it doesn't matter. No one's been able to consistently find storylines or characters that will convince fans to buy tickets. Nobody's perfect. Nobody bats 1,000. Booking a bad angle or picking the wrong person to win a match, that's one thing, but it's an entirely different beast when someone in charge either overestimates the value of someone bad or underestimates the value of someone good. And this week, I'm gonna rank them the top 8 times a booker got it wrong. Number 8, Cesaro, WrestleMania Waste. It's a tale as old as time. Big boring battle royal at WrestleMania. Everyone wakes up when a Swiss man body slams the Big Show like he was a child and wins a formerly boring, now interesting battle royal. You know, the huge. But upon winning the inaugural Andre the Giant Battle Royal at Mania 30, Cesaro's potential was completely squandered. He was paired with Paul Heyman, which seemed like a good idea on the surface, but he was mostly in the background while Heyman kept talking about Brock Lesnar. Cesaro was also discouraged from using the Giant Swing, one of the things that actually got him over. Oh yeah, and they also gave him a new theme song that apparently everyone hates but me. At this moment, Cesaro seems to be in a much better position than he was in the spring of 2014, but you can't help but think that it could have and should have been a lot different. Number 7. Tom McGee, the next Hulk Hogan? Tom McGee, a former powerlifter and strongman from Winnipeg, you idiot, debuted for the WWF in 1986 after a quick spell in Stampede Wrestling in All Japan. Once signed, Vince McMahon's legendary love for big muscular men grabbed a hold of his senses. According to legend, the plan was for McGee to become the successor to Hulk Hogan, but a series of bad house show matches with guys like Bret Hart and Terry Gibbs made higher-ups realize that no matter how many backflips you can do in the ring, if you can't connect with the crowd, you're donezo. But if you want my opinion, the biggest hurdle Tom McGee had to face was his name. Can you imagine a crowd full of people chanting, "Yay, McGee! Let's go, McGee!" Number 6, Roman Reigns. Just Roman Reigns. Stop me if you heard this one in the last 30 seconds. A big guy with a good look and no charisma being forced upon the fan base as a conquering hero with predictable results. How could Vince be so stubborn to keep this going, but be smart enough in the 1980s to cancel the Tom McGee experiment? Look, I personally think he could be a huge star if he was actually used correctly for a change, but forget about that now, he's damaged goods. Number 5, the Great Khali. Do I really need to go on here? Number 4, Ric Flair, Spartacus. You could write volumes about the 4-year run Jim Herd spent as executive vice president of WCW, but the biggest misstep he made while in charge was failing to appreciate the value of Ric Flair. Herd thought that the Nature Boy was too old to draw a crowd. This was back when Flair was in his 40s, by the way. He wouldn't retire for another 18 years or so. Herd did the unthinkable and told Flair to cut his signature bleached blonde locks, get into a Roman gladiator getup, and call himself Spartacus, which he said was in order to, quote, change with the times. 'Cause yeah, nothing says hip in the 1990s quite like a bronze breastplate and a shield. It all came to a head when Herd and Flair argued over the WCW Championship, which led to Flair leaving the company but walking out with the belt. This led to the WWF making a little history of their own. Number 3, David Arquette, WCW Champion. I like to make fun, but in reality, I think Vince Russo is very misunderstood in the grand scheme of things. Sure, he's made some bad decisions in his time, but like I said, no one in that spot has ever been perfect. But man, I cannot defend him on this. In the spring of 2000, as a way to help get mainstream attention for the cinematic classic Ready to Rumble, lead actor David Arquette was picked to win the WCW Championship. Arquette initially balked at the move, proving that not everyone in Hollywood is insane. Folks, this was a bad move on all levels. Not only was it bad for WCW's business, it was bad for the wrestling business in general. Arquette winning the championship just made wrestling look like more of a sideshow than it was already seen as by outsiders. So, thanks, Vince. Number 2, The Undertaker. Gingers don't have souls or draw money. The Undertaker is synonymous with professional wrestling. The man has spent more than 3 decades in the business, and more than 25 of those years have been with WWE. But none of that might have ever happened if Ole Anderson got his way. In 1990, Ole Anderson was the booker for WCW. Yes, that was right around the same time Jim Herd was running things. During a meeting between himself, Teddy Long, and Mean Mark Callis, Ole told the future dead man point blank that Mark wouldn't draw a dime because he had red hair. Understandably frustrated with the situation, old booger redhead jumped ship and went to the WWF, where he would debut as The Undertaker. The rest is history. Now, Taker would eventually dye his hair a darker shade, which technically made Ole Anderson right, but you know what? Forget it. The rest is history. And the number one time a wrestling booker got it wrong is Hulk Hogan, not AWA Championship material. Vince McMahon is only considered a genius because he had the presence of mind to do what the AWA couldn't do, capitalize on a no-brainer. Between his first two stints in the WWF, Hulk Hogan spent a few years in the American Wrestling Association. Thanks to a combination of his look, natural charisma, and his role in Rocky III, the Hulkster was beloved by the AWA fans. But company head Vern Gagne didn't see Hogan as world champion material because his style wasn't technical enough. So there you have it, Vern Gagne was the first internet mark. Gagne dangled the carrot in front of Hogan enough times, putting him in a series of world title matches against Nick Bockwinkel, but never gave him a chance to hold the belt. He then had the nerve to offer Hogan the championship as long as Hulk gave up his merchandise royalties, which Hogan wisely refused. Hogan went to the WWF and became the biggest wrestling star of a generation, while the AWA eventually went under. So yeah, not a good look. Can you think of some other poor talent evaluations? Speak on it in the comments section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.